Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today is just an ordinary day, but with the month change, I always do a weighing of my tortoises. And today's adventure, I don't have a whole lot of time. Some days I just finished my day job and come home and take a look, and we have an absolute disaster. We got dry food all over the place. We have a poop laying out. We got one tortoise tucked away and tucked into bed because it's about supper time here. And the other tortoise, my boy Scooter, he's just out stomping and whatever. But with the month change, I always like keeping track of my tortoises' weights. And every month I do a recording from when I pick up that tortoise. I do a hatch date, a purchase date, an initial weighing. I usually try and soak before I weigh. Today, we're skipping that process. If you do want to know about my soaking habits, you can filter back, and there is a bath time video of my Herman's tortoises that you are more than welcome to follow. Please like, and subscribe. Comment, even if you like. If there's a question or there's an idea of what I could do for another video, please, by all means, just comment and hit that subscribe, please. Any bit helps. So today we will go through the process with these tortoises. And so the key is with these scales, this is just a Superstore special food scale. The battery in it, you can get at Walmart or at Superstore maybe even as well. But I find the battery doesn't last a whole terrible long amount of time. And it's not exactly a great product by any means, but cheap is good. And I measure in grams. That way I can relate it to about sugar cubes for weight, is how many sugar cubes we're weighing our tortoise in at. That's about what I go with for a gram. Maybe there's something more accurate, but that is, in my mind, that's what I'm imagining anyways. The key with these scales is getting them semi-level. If not, they will read differently and not that great. So my carpentry skills here are not all that great, so bear with me while we get this thing level. And that's pretty solid there. So what I always do is I use just our trusty friend here, the red Solo cup. We do not fill it up, but we put it on top of here, upside down. That weighs 19 grams with the food particles and such that I've got stuck in there. But we will zero it out or tear it. Tear. So we are stuck at zero here. We'll start off with weighing my boy Scooter. He was last month at 682. That was, I believe, at pretty close to the beginning of the month. So this is maybe 20 days. I only aim for a consistent few grams a month. Like it was 15 grams gainage for him last month. So we'll see. With my winter feeds have been, mostly the fresh ones have been fed up, like my ribgrass plantain, my aloe vera, my chicks and hens, my mallow that grows, any snapdragon that was kicking around, that is pretty much picked through. These guys are getting fed a majority of dried feeds at this time of year. It's similar to waiting on those spring rains or that desert dryness. These guys come from a semi-arid climate. It's not purely dry. It's relatively high humidity, but it's dry right now for them as they come out of hibernation. A lot of their diet would be dry in the wild. If you're curious about where I get my ideas of where their climate is like, feel free to comment and I will reply. There's a few awesome sources that I could talk about, but to now finally getting towards the weighing of the tortoise. So what I do here is I pick up, you support that bottom as much as you can at all times. We're going to quickly weigh him like a tortoise on a fence post. We got him underneath there, and I usually hold the top shell until it's time to let go. And we are up 15 grams this month with my boy Scooter. That is awesome. So I will record that beautiful chap there. And I honestly just write this right down on my table. If something ever happens, if this tortoise isn't in this table, well, then I probably won't have this table anymore. I don't see any harm in it. It's the easiest way to keep track of it. I just write it all over the place. So that was Scooter. We have to dig out Dash now. Oh, come here, girl. Sorry, I had to leave the frame there for a second. I just got the phone propped up. Oh, she's getting to be a big girl. Love her. Love her. That was a growth of 16 grams for her last month. So these guys are on par. They're both about 5 and 6 years old. So they're almost at that 1,000 gram mark between the two of them. I just love growing them. Now this is we'll say adolescent. She's not an adult by any means. And 411 for March. So that's only in 20 days. She's only up a gram. I attribute that to me trying to get her off of her horrible fruit diet, her poor lettuce existence. Yeah, she's only up a whole gram this month, and that's okay. I haven't had her that long. She's doing the quarantine lifestyle, so everything is a change for her. Her lights, her old lights were a lower percentage. I believe they were just the 10.0 through the ReptiSun. I like using the 12% tubular UVB for my Hermans through Arcadia. I usually try and cover half to 3/4 of my table in UV lighting. That's how you figure out your length or your wattage, is how much you want to cover. So I like to cover about half to 3/4. And my friend March there, she is adjusting between going from a diet that was sugar rich, fiber low, and going from the diet of bananas, strawberries, and whatever was kicking around in the fridge, it seems, to a diet of mostly safe weeds, plants, and flowers, some fresh ribgrass, a little bit of snapdragon, and mallow, and a lot of dried mallow. It's a big adjustment for that girl. So the fact that I've even gained this month is a bonus, because her palate is adjusting, to say the least. So we will record that as March, for March. That's what the tortoise's name is. And the smaller the tortoise, aim for the smaller the gains. The bigger the tortoise should have relatively larger gains until it becomes a full-fledged adult, and from there there should be some consistency of some form of tapering off there, you would think. I haven't had any larger species sulcatas, like such as sulcatas or leopards or anything, in my personal ownership to weigh them and comment on it, but they grow at a different rate, and the measurement scaling would be more drastic the larger of the tortoise. And our final weighing. This is an unsexed juvenile, kind of a hatchling holdback, some would say. Oh, and our scale has turned off. So we'll zero that out. We're zeroed. And this little one here is at 157. So we'll take a look. So just looking at this little one here, my general aim would be 3 to 4 grams a month, and we gained 9 last month, which is a little bit much, which is interesting because I've been really trying to monitor the idea of overfeeding or underfeeding. As you can see here, she was kept rather dry as her raised scutes. She was kept rather dry in sawdust and mercury vapor. And a mercury vapor bulb in a vivarium. Super dry. So I was glad to scoop this one up. I hope it's a female, but if it's a boy, it's more than welcome to join the creep of tortoises of mine. But we'll put this one back. But as I mentioned, it's very dry and its scutes are raised up there that little bit. So I'm aiming for slow, smooth shell growth. So 9 grams this month is rather surprising. As always, thanks all for tuning in and seeing how I weigh my tortoises. If you have any tips or tricks, feel free to leave a comment or a like or any suggestions for new videos. Thanks so much for staying tuned.